A Foster Parent Guide to Earn Money Raising Children. Chapter 1. Make money as a foster parent and help kids in the system. Foster care/foster parent to make money. The Department of Human Services/Child Protective Services in every state needs foster parents to take care of orphaned, abused and unwanted children. You can earn money doing this. Contact your local or state Health and Human Services Department. They also place foster caretakers with elderly folk who need care. There are grandparent foster plans where a senior can take a foster child and earn money. Department of Health and Human Services. 200 Independence Avenue SW. Room 118. Washington, D.C. 20201. 202-245-6296. 800-368-5779, Whistleblower Hotline. hhs.gov. aoa.dhhs.gov, Administration on Aging. acf.dhhs.gov/program/cb/program/4fc.htm, Administration for Children and Families. Foster Care Agencies. AdolescentandFamily.com, Adolescent and Family Growth Center, Inc. Treatment Foster Care Agency located in Northern Virginia. Angelfire.com/ca7/humanistic, Humanistic Foster Family Agency, a child-centered service with programs that provide individualized treatment to children through a healthy, structured and nurturing family environment. FutureFamilies.org, Future Families Agency, adoption and foster care for California children by families in and around the Bay Area, with offices in San Jose, Santa Cruz, and San Francisco. Michigan.gov/0, 724-5452_71517-00.html, Michigan State Government Bureau of Family Services Foster Parenting Guidelines, Information and Licensing Requirements for the State of Michigan. Includes the various types of licenses. NewJerseyFosterCare.org, New Jersey foster care information for those considering becoming a foster parent in New Jersey. ParadiseOaks.com, Paradise Oaks Foster Family Agency, foster family placement agency for Citrus Heights, CA. PresidioInc.com, Presidio, Inc. Child Placement Agency in Colorado, providing therapeutic foster care placement and out-client services to children and families. Foster Care Organizations. 1. National Foster Parents Association. 800-888-6830. nfpinc.org. Foster Grandparents Program. National Senior Service Corps. 1201 New York Avenue, NW. Washington, D.C. 20525. 800-424-8867. 800-942-2677. 202-606-5000. SeniorCorps.org. If you're a low-income senior, you can get paid to be a foster grandparent for 20 hours a week. National Foster Parent Association. POB 81. Alpha, Ohio 45301. 800-557-5238. Fax, 937-431-9377. nfpinc.org. Volunteers of America. Number 400. 3939 North Causeway Boulevard, Matera, Louisiana 70002. 504-837-2652. Fax, 504-837-4200. VOA.org. Foster Grandparent Programs. Foster Care Organizations. 1. American Foster Care Resources, Inc. POB 271. King George, Virginia 22485-0271. 540-775-7410. Fax, 540-775-3271. afcr@afcr.com. afcr.com. Annie E. Casey Foundation. 701 St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21202. 410-547-6600. Fax, 410-547-6624. aecf.org. Facebook.com/ANEEKCFNDN?ref=TS. Twitter. Twitter.com/AECF-News. YouTube. YouTube.com/user/ANEEKC-found. Association of Administrators of the Interstate Compact for the Placement of Children. American Public Human Services Association. 1133 19th Street NW, Suite 400. Suite 500. Washington, District of Columbia 20036. 202-682-0100. Fax, 202-289-6555. aphsa.org/content/AAICPC/en/home.html. Boys Town. 14100 Crawford Street, Boys Town, Nebraska 68010. 402-498-1300. 800-448-3000. Fax, 402-498-1348. boystown.org. Facebook.com/BoysTown Mission. Twitter. Twitter.com/BoysTown. Casey Family Programs. 1123 23rd Avenue, Seattle, Washington 98122-4821. 800-496-2230. Casey.org. Twitter. Twitter.com/Casey Programs. Center for Child and Family Programs. Institute for the Study of Children, Families, and Communities/CCFP. 203 Boone Hall, Ypsilanti, Michigan 48197. 734-487-0372. Fax, 734-487-0284. iscfc@mh.edu. iscfc.mh.edu/center%20 for %20 child %20 and %20 family %20 programs/center %20 for %20 child %20 and %20 family %20 programs.htm. Center for Social Services Research, University of California at Berkeley/School of Social Welfare. 120 Haviland Hall, Berkeley, California 94720-7400. cssr.berkeley.edu. The Center for Social Services Research, CSSR, conducts research, policy analysis, and program planning, and evaluation directed toward improving the public social services. Chapin Hall Center for Children. 1313 East 60th Street, Chicago, Illinois 60637. 773-753-5900. Fax, 773-753-5940. Webmaster@chapinhall.org. chapinhall.org. Child Trends. 7315 Wisconsin Avenue, Suite 1200W, Bethesda, Maryland 20814. 240-223-9200. Fax, 240-200-1238. fwalter@childtrends.org. childtrends.org. Facebook.com/childtrends. Twitter. Twitter.com/childtrends. YouTube. YouTube.com/childtrends. Child Welfare Information Gateway. Children's Bureau/ACYF. 330 C Street, SW. Washington, District of Columbia 20201. 800-394-3366. info@childwelfare.gov. childwelfare.gov. Facebook.com/childwelfare. Child Welfare League of America. Headquarters 1726 M St. N.W., Suite 500. 3rd floor. Washington District of Columbia 20036. 202-688-4200. Fax 202-833-1689. cwlaw@cwlaw.org. cwlaw.org. Facebook.com/cwlawupdates. Twitter. Twitter.com/cwlawupdates. Children and Family Research Center. 1203 W Oregon. Urbana, Illinois 61801. 217-333-5837. 800-638-3877. Fax 217-333-7629. cfrc@uiuc.edu. cfrc.illinois.edu. Children's Bureau. 330 C Street, SW. 3rd floor. Washington District of Columbia 20201. acf.hhs.gov/programs/cb. Facebook.com/The Children's Bureau. YouTube. youtube.com/playlist?list =PL3517FB9F443D65D& feature =PLCP. Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute. 311 Massachusetts Avenue Northeast. Washington District of Columbia 20002. 202-544-8500. Fax 202-544-8501. info@ccainstitute.org. ccainstitute.org. Facebook.com/the CCAI?V=info. Twitter. Twitter.com/CCA Institute. YouTube. YouTube.com/CCA Institute. Foster Care Alumni of America. 901 North Washington Street. Suite 208. Arlington, Virginia 22314. 703-299-6767. 888, ALUMNI0. info@fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org. Foster Care to Success. 21351 Gentry Drive. Unit 130. Sterling, Virginia 20166. 571-203-0270. Fax 571-203-0273. fc2success.org. Facebook.com/fostercare2success. Twitter. Twitter.com/fc2success. YouTube. youtube.com/fc2success. Foster Family Based Treatment Association. 294 Union Street. Hackensack, New Jersey 07601-4303. 201-343-2246. 800-414-3382. Fax 201-489-4593. fftia@fftia.org. fftia.org. Facebook.com/pages/foster-family-association-fftia/19350152730 Twitter. Twitter.com/fftia-tfc. Foster Club. 753 First Avenue. Seaside, Oregon 97138. 503-717-1552. Fax 503-717-1702. fosterclub.com. Facebook.com/pages/fosterclub/36372698072. Twitter. Twitter.com/fosterclub. YouTube. youtube.com/user/fosterclubtv. foster-club.com/foster-training/course/helping-youth-prepare-transition-adulthood. booster.fosterclub.com. Fostering Connections Resource Center. National CASA Association. 100 West Harrison Street, North Tower, Suite 500. Seattle, Washington 98119. 202-572-6000. siasofferchildren.org/site/mpj/fostering_connections_resource_center.htm. Facebook.com/siasofferchildren. Twitter. Twitter.com/National CASA. YouTube. YouTube.com/siasofferchildren. Freddie Mac Foundation. 8250 Jones Branch Drive. Mail Stop A40. McLean, Virginia 22102. 703-918-8888. Fax 703-918-8895. FreddieMac_Foundation@FreddieMac.com. FreddieMac.com. The Freddie Mac Foundation provides funds for various non-profit organizations. Healthy Foster Care America. C/O American Academy of Pediatrics. 141 Northwest Point Boulevard, Elk Grove Village, Illinois 60007. 800-433-9016. Fax 847-228-7320. Fostercare@aap.org. aap.org/n-us/advocacy-health-policy/aap-foster-care-healthy-pages/default.aspx. Institute for the Study of Children, Families, and Communities. 203 Boone Hall, Ypsilanti, Michigan 48197. 734-487-0372. Fax 734-487-0284. iscfc@mh.edu. iscfc.mh.edu. Jim Casey Youth Opportunities Initiative. 222 South Central, Suite 305. St. Louis, Missouri 63105. 314-863-7000. Fax 314-863-7003. JimCaseyYouth.org. Facebook.com/JimCaseyYouth Unities Initiative. Twitter. Twitter.com/JimCaseyYouth. Kidspeace Corporate Headquarters. 4085 Independence Drive, Schnecksville, Pennsylvania 18078-2574. 800-257-3223. Kidspeace.org. Facebook.com/kidspeace.org. National Center for Adoption Law and Policy. Capital University Law School. 303 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio 43215. 614-236-6730. Fax 614-236-6958. Adoption@law.capital.edu. FamilyYouthLaw.org. Facebook.com/FamilyYouthLawCenter. Twitter. Twitter.com/NCALP. National Foster Care Coalition. 605 North Carolina Avenue SE, Unit No. 2. Washington, District of Columbia 20003. 202-280-2039. NationalFosterCare.org. National Foster Parent Association. 2313 Tacoma Avenue S. Tacoma, Washington 98402. 253-683-4246. 800-557-5238. Fax 253-683-4249. Info@nfpaonline.org. nfpaonline.org. Facebook.com/NFPA-online. Twitter. Twitter.com/%21/NFPA-online. National Institute for Permanent Family Connectedness. Seneca Center Training Institute. 2275 Arlington Drive, San Leandro, California 94578. 877-380-5300. Training at senecacenter.org. senecacenter.org/familyfinding. senecacenter.org/familyfinding/support. One Simple Wish. 1977 North Olden Avenue, number 292. Trenton, New Jersey 08618. 609-883-8484. info@anicmpluish.org. anicmpluish.org. facebook.com/anicmpluish. Twitter. twitter.com/anicmpluish. Pew Charitable Trusts. 901 E Street, NW. Washington, District of Columbia 20004-2008. 215-575-9050. 202-552-2000. Fax, 215-575-4939. Fax, 202-552-2299. info@pewtrusts.org. pewtrusts.org/en. youtube.com/PEW. Twitter. twitter.com. YouTube. youtube.com/PEW. Youth Communication. New York Center, Inc. 224 West 29th Street. New York, New York 10001. 212-279-0708. Fax, 212-279-8856. info@youthcomm.org. youthcomm.org. facebook.com/youthcomm. Twitter. twitter.com/youthcomm. YouTube. youtube.com/youthcomm. youthcomm.org/publications/fcu.htm. youthcomm.org/who_we_are/index.html. Youth Law Center. 200 Pine Street, Suite 300. San Francisco, California 94104. 415-543-3379. Fax, 415-956-9022. info@ylc.org. ylc.org. Chapter 2. A Foster Care Website Guide. Foster Care Websites 1. kc.org/resources/publications/national-alumni-study.htm, KC Family Programs. cwlaw.org/programs/foster care, Child Welfare League of America. fostercare.org. fosteringfamiliestoday.com, 888-924-6736, Magazine. fosteringzolutions.com. fosterparentcollege.com, research-based courses and advanced parenting workshops. fosterparenting.com. fosterparents.com. futureofchildren.org, articles containing foster care and foster home information. gacservices.net. kidshealth.org/en/kids/foster-families.html, facts on foster families. kidshealth.org/kid/home_family/foster_families.html, facts on foster families. vachss.com/help_text/foster_care.html, foster care resources. youthnewsletter.net, children in foster care. Foster care websites 2. fosterparents.com, fosterparents.com, foster parents forums, adoption, foster adoption, parenting, birth family. Bethany.org, Bethany.org, Bethany Christian Services, 75 locations in 30 states. Abortionalternatives.com, abortalternatives.net, consider adoption of one or more of your foster children. Villages.org, villages.org, champions every child's right to a safe, permanent, and nurturing home. Safety.org, now is the time to become a foster parent. Families in need throughout America. NFPAINC.org, National Foster Parent Association, placement of children outside of their home, due to abuse/neglect. NationalFosterCARefund.com, NationalFosterCARefund.com, resources to enhance/improve lives of foster youth throughout the nation. FosterCareMonth.org, FosterCareMonth.org, provides an opportunity for people all across the nation to get involved. Casey.org, Casey.org, family programs provide and improve and ultimately to prevent the need for foster care. FosterParentCollege.com, FosterParentCollege.com, courses online or on DVD. Forums.adoption.com, Forums.adoption.com, licensing and foster care rates. FosterCare.net, FosterCare.net, adoption service resource from foster care homes. AdoptableKids.com, AdoptableKids.com, photo listings of children internationally and in foster homes. Foster care websites 3. AFCR.com, American Foster Care Resources provides informational and educational resources for and about family foster care. BetterEndings.org, Better Endings New Beginnings resources and support services for families and professionals who care about and for adoption, foster care, allegations, kinship care, and other issues surrounding high-risk young people. CONCEPT7.org, Concept 7 provides family support and treatment services for approximately 700 children in Southern California. Includes agency profile, contact details, and upcoming events. FosterCareAgency.org, Foster Care Agency includes a large amount of information for foster parents and those who work with foster children. FosterParents.com, Foster Parent Community articles, external links on foster parenting and online discussions with professionals in the field of caring for children. NYCCC.org, New York State Citizens Coalition for Children resources for adoptive and foster parents. A list of fostering news feeds from blog.feedspot.com/foster_RSS_feeds. CA Revisions Children's Services.co.uk. CA Revisions Fostering.co.uk/blog/feed. ccfosteradopt.com/feed. ccfosteradopt.com. faithbridgeblog.com/feed. faithbridgeblog.com. feeds.feedburner.com/blog-fostermoms. fostercarecloset.org/blog/feed. fostercarecloset.org/blog. fostercaretech.com/feed. fostercaretech.com. fosteringrights.org/foster-care-reform-blog. fosteringrights.org/feed.xml. fostermoms.com/blog. fosterioUTHmuseum.org. fosterioUTHmuseum.org/feed. fulltimetired.com/feed. fulltimetired.com. lawfosterblog.blogspot.com. lawfosterblog.blogspot.com/feeds/posts/default?alt=RSS. modfosterfam.com/feed. modfosterfam.com. newdayfostrome.blogspot.com. newdayfostrome.blogspot.com/feeds/posts/default?alt=RSS. nobonesabutit.com/feed. nobonesabutit.com. norfolkffc.org/blog. norfolkffc.org/blog?format=RSS. perpetualfostering.co.uk/insights. rainbowfostering.co.uk/feed. rainbowfostering.co.uk. sainta.org/category/foster-care-and-adoption. sainta.org/category/foster-care-and-adoption/feed. suddenlymummy.blogspot.com/feeds/posts/default?alt=sign RSS. suddenlymummy.blogspot.com. SWIIS fostercarescotland.co.uk/SCT_blog/feed. SWIIS fostercarescotland.co.uk/SCT_blog. thefosterparentassistant.com. thefosterparentassistant.com/feed. vakids.org/r-news/blog/category/child-welfare-foster-care/feed. vakids.org/r-news/blog/category/child-welfare-foster-care. voicesforcausachildren.org/blog. voicesforcausachildren.org/blog/feed. Canadian foster parent. parentingease.com/children/fosterparentingincanada.html. fosterparentsplan.ca. youthincare.ca, for foster children. gov.ns.ca/fostercare, 800-565-1884. Chapter 3. U.S. State Foster Care Offices. State Foster Care Information Websites. Alabama Statewide Foster Care Information Line. dhr.alabama.gov/services/foster_care/intro_foster_care.aspx. Alaska Department of Health and Social Services. dhss.alaska.gov/ocs/pages/fostercare/default.aspx. California Department of Social Services. cdss.ca.gov/foster-care. Colorado Department of Human Services. cofosterandadopt.org. Connecticut Department of Children and Families. ctfosteradopt.com. Delaware Department of Services for Children, Youth, and their Families. state.de.us/kids/fs/fostercare.shtml. District of Columbia Child and Family Services Agency. cfsa.dc.gov/service/become-foster-or-adoptive-parent. Georgia Department of Human Services. dfcs.dhs.georgia.gov/foster-care. Hawaii Department of Human Services. hawaii.gov/dhs/protection/social_services/child_welfare/foster. Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. healthandwelfare.idaho.gov/children/adoption-foster-care-home/tabid/75/default.aspx. Indiana Foster Care. in.gov/dcs/fostercare.htm. Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services. chfs.ky.gov/dcbs/dpp/fostercare.htm. Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services. dss.louisiana.gov. Maine Department of Health and Human Services. maine.gov/dhhs/bcfs/fosteradopt.htm. Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. mass.gov/eah/gov/departments/dcf. Michigan Department of Human Services. michigan.gov/DHS/0,16075.452_71117-00.html. Minnesota Department of Human Services. mn.gov/dhs/people we serve/children and families/services/foster care/programs services/steps to become a foster parent.jsp. Mississippi Department of Child Protection Services. mdcps.ms.gov/become-a-resource-foster-adoptive-parent. Missouri Department of Social Services. dss.mo.gov/cd/fostercare. Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. fostercare.mt.gov. Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. dhhs.ne.gov/children_family_services/pages/foc_focindex.aspx Nevada Department of Health and Human Services dcfs.nv.gov/programs/cws/placement New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services dhhs.nh.gov/dcyf/adoption New Jersey Department of Children and Families New Jersey fostercare.org New Mexico Department of Children, Youth, and Families scifd.org New York State Office of Children and Family Services ocfs.state.ny.us/main/fostercare North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services ncdhhs.gov/division/dss North Dakota Department of Human Services nd.gov/dhs/services/child family/foster care Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, Office of Families and Children jfs.ohio.gov/factsheets/fostercare.pdf Oklahoma Department of Human Services okdhs.org/services/foster/pages/fostercarehome.aspx Pennsylvania Department of Human Services dhs.pa.gov/citizens/child welfare services/foster ca Rain Pennsylvania Puerto Rico Administration for Children and Families familia.gobierno.pr Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth, and Families dcyf.ri.gov/foster/index.php South Carolina Department of Social Services state.sc.us/dss/fostercare/index.html South Dakota Department of Social Services dss.sd.gov/child protection/fostercare Tennessee Department of Children's Services tn.gov/dcs/program-area/foster-care/become-a-fp.html Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, DFPS dfps.state.tx.us/adoption_and_foster_care/about_foster_care Utah Department of Human Services dcfs.utah.gov/services/foster-care Vermont Department for Children and Families dcf.vermont.gov/adoption-foster Virginia Department of Social Services dss.virginia.gov/family/fc/index.cgi Washington Department of Social and Health Services dshs.wa.gov/ca/foster-parenting West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources dhr.wv.gov/bcf/pages/default.aspx Wisconsin Department of Children and Families dcf.wisconsin.gov/fostercare/parent Wyoming Department of Family Services 2300 Capitol Avenue 3rd floor Cheyenne, Wyoming 82002 307-777-6203 Fax 307-777-3659 wyo.gov U.S. State Foster Care Program Manager Offices Alabama Independent Living Coordinator and ETV Coordinator Program Manager Office of Foster Care and ILP Alabama Department of Human Resources Family Services Division 50 Ripley Street Montgomery, Alabama 36130-4000 334-353-3108 dhr.alabama.gov National Foster Care Month Contact Alabama Department of Human Resources Family Services Division 50 Ripley Street Montgomery, Alabama 36130-4000 334-353-2509 dhr.alabama.gov dhr.alabama.gov/services/foster_care/intro_foster_care.aspx Alaska Social Services Program Officer Alaska Department of Health and Social Services Office of Children's Services POB 110630 130 Seward Street Room 406 Juneau, Alaska 99811-0630 907-465-3209 Alaska.gov Arizona Arizona Department of Child Safety POB 6030 Site Code C010-22 Phoenix, Arizona 85005 602-255-2500 azday.gov Adoption Manager Arizona Department of Child Safety POB 6030 Site Code C010-22 Phoenix, Arizona 85005 602-255-2623 azdcs.gov National Foster Care Month Contact Arizona Department of Child Safety POB 6030 Site Code C010-22 Phoenix, Arizona 85005 602-255-2635 azday.gov dcs.az.gov/services/foster-care-and-adoption Arkansas Arkansas Department of Human Services POB 1437 Little Rock, Arkansas 72203 501-682-8541 Arkansas.gov Arkansas Department of Human Services POB 1437 Little Rock, Arkansas 72203 dhs.arkansas.gov Foster Care/Kinship Manager Arkansas Department of Human Services POB 1437 Slot S561 Little Rock, Arkansas 72203 501-396-6477 Fax 501-683-2788 dhs.arkansas.gov California Placement Services and Support Unit Manager California Department of Social Services 744 P Street Sacramento, California 95814 916-651-7465 dss.ca.gov State Foster Care Ombudsperson California Department of Social Services 744 P Street Sacramento, California 95814 877-846-1602 dss.ca.gov cdss.ca.gov/foster-care Colorado Foster Care Program Manager Colorado Department of Human Services Division of Child Welfare 1575 Sherman Street 2nd floor Denver, Colorado 80203 303-866-3546 Fax 303-866-5563 State.co.us cofosterandadopt.org Connecticut State Foster Care Program Director Connecticut Department of Children and Families Bureau of Adoption and Interstate Compact Services 505 Hudson Street Hartford, Connecticut 06106 860-550-6536 ct.gov National Foster Care Month Contact Connecticut Department of Children and Families Bureau of Adoption and Interstate Compact Services 505 Hudson Street Hartford, Connecticut 06106 ct.gov ctfosteradopt.com Delaware. Foster Care Program Manager. Delaware Department of Services for Children, Youth, and their Families. Delaware Division of Family Services. 1825 Falkland Road, Wilmington, Delaware 19805. 302-633-2665. Fax 302-633-2652. State.de.us. kids.delaware.gov/fs/fostercare.shtml. District of Columbia. District of Columbia Child and Family Services Agency. Family Resource Division. 200 I Street, S.E. Washington, D.C. 20003. 202-645-6547. dc.gov. Florida. Permanency and Well-Being Manager. Florida Department of Children and Families. 1317 Winewood Boulevard, Building 1. Tallahassee, Florida 32399. 850-717-4660. myflfamilies.com. Georgia. Director, Foster Care Services. Georgia Department of Human Services. Division of Children and Family Services. 2 Peachtree Street, NW. Suite 18 to 395. Atlanta, Georgia 30303-3142. 404-651-8409. dhs.ga.gov. Placement and Permanency Services Director. Georgia Department of Human Services. Division of Children and Family Services. 2 Peachtree Street, NW. Suite 18 to 395. Atlanta, Georgia 30303-3142. 404-463-3957. Fax 404-657-3406. dhs.ga.gov. dfcs.dhs.georgia.gov/foster-care. Hawaii. Foster Care Program Manager/Independent Living Program Coordinator. Hawaii Department of Human Services. Child Welfare Services Division. 810 Richards Street, Suite 400. Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. 808-586-7212. Fax 808-586-4806. dhs.hawaii.gov. National Foster Care Month Contact. Hawaii Department of Human Services. 810 Richards Street, Suite 400. Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. 808-586-5699. Fax 808-586-4806. dhs.hawaii.gov. hawaii.gov/dhs. National Foster Care Month Contact. Hawaii Department of Human Services. Child Welfare Services Division. 810 Richards Street, Suite 400. Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. 808-441-1121. pidfoundation.org. pidf.org. Idaho. Family Foster Care Program Specialist. Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. 450 West State Street, 5th floor. Boise, Idaho 83720. 208-334-5648. Fax 208-332-7330. dhw.idaho.gov. healthandwelfare.idaho.gov/children/adoption foster care home/t. Illinois. Senior Deputy Director. Illinois Department of Children and Families. 1755 Lake Cook Road, 5th floor. Deerfield, Illinois 60015. 847-948-6719. Illinois.gov. Indiana. Indiana Department of Child Services. 302 West Washington Street, Room E306, MS 47. Indianapolis, Indiana 46204. 317-234-5743. dcs.in.gov. Iowa. Foster Care Program Manager. Iowa Department of Human Services. 1305 East Walnut Street. Hoover State Office Building, 5th floor. Des Moines, Iowa 50319-0114. 515-281-3012. dhs.state.ia.us. National Foster Care Month Contact. Iowa Department of Human Services. Des Moines, IA. 712-263-9341. lsiowa.org. National Foster Care Month Contact. Iowa Department of Human Services. IA. 319-784-2061. furoaks.org. Kansas. Permanency Program Administrator, State IL and ETV Coordinator. Kansas Department for Children and Families. Prevention and Protection Services. 555 South Kansas Avenue 4th floor. Topeka, Kansas 66603. 785-296-6619. Fax, 785-368-8159. ks.gov. Kentucky. Chaffee and ETV Program Administrator. Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services. 275 East Main Street 3ED. Frankfort, Kentucky 40601. 502-564-2147. ky.gov. Louisiana. Foster Care Program Manager. Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services. POB 3318. 627 North 4th Street. Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70802. 225-342-4006. Fax, 225-342-9087. la.gov. Maine. Maine Department of Health and Human Services. Bureau of Child and Family Services. 2 Anthony Avenue SHS No. 11. Augusta, Maine 04333. 207-624-5276. Fax, 207-287-6156. Maine.gov. Maryland. Director, CPS and Family Preservation. Maryland Department of Human Services. Social Services Administration. 311 West Saratoga Street. 5th floor. Baltimore, Maryland 21201. 410-767-7561. Fax, 410-333-6556. Maryland.gov. Massachusetts Assistant Commissioner for Foster Care, Adoption, and Adolescent Services. Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. 600 Washington Street. Boston, Massachusetts 02111. 617-748-2248. Fax, 617-261-7437. State.ma.us. Michigan. Adoption, Guardianship, Recruitment and Retention Manager. Michigan Department of Human Services. Office of Child Welfare Policy and Program/Children's Services Agency. 235 South Grand Avenue. Suite 510. Lansing, Michigan 48909. 517-241-8817. Michigan.gov. Policy and Program Manager. Michigan Department of Human Services. Office of Child Welfare Policy and Program/Children's Services Agency. 235 South Grand Avenue. Suite 510. Lansing, Michigan 48909. 517-599-8408. Fax, 517-241-7047. Michigan.gov. Minnesota. Unit Supervisor, Minnesota Department of Human Services. epub 64943. St. Paul, Minnesota 55164-0943. 651-431-4667. Fax 651-431-7491. State.mn.us. National Foster Care Month Contact, Minnesota Department of Human Services. epub 64943. St. Paul, Minnesota 55164-0943. 651-431-4731. State.mn.us. mn.gov/dhs. Mississippi. Foster Care Unit Director, Mississippi Department of Child Protection Services. State Permanency Support Services/Licensure. epub 346. Jackson, Mississippi 39205. 601-359-4262. Fax 601-359-4360. mdcps.ms.gov. Missouri. Foster Care Program Manager, Missouri Department of Social Services. epub 88. 205 Jefferson Street, Jefferson City, Missouri 65103. 573-526-1422. dss.mo.gov. Montana. Foster Care Program Manager, Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. Child and Family Services Division. epub 8005. 301 South Park Avenue, Helena, Montana 59604-8005. 406-841-2415. Fax 406-841-2487. mt.gov. Nebraska. Teresa Starr. Foster Care Program Manager, Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Division of Children and Family Services. 301 Centennial Mall South, Nebraska State Office Building 3. Lincoln, Nebraska 68509. 402-471-6288. Fax 402-471-9034. Nebraska.gov. Nevada. Foster Care Specialist, Nevada Department of Health and Human Services. Division of Child and Family Services. 4126 Technology Way, 3rd floor, Carson City, Nevada 89706. 775-684-4434. Fax 775-684-4456. dcfs.nv.gov. New Hampshire. Foster Care Program Manager, New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. Division for Children, Youth, and Families. 129 Pleasant Street, Thayer Building, Concord, New Hampshire 03301-6522. 603-271-4711. Fax 603-271-7982. dhhs.nh.gov. New Jersey. Acting Administrator, New Jersey Department of Children and Families. Division of Child Protection and Permanency/Office of Resource Families. 50 East State Street, 5th floor, CC number 965. Trenton, New Jersey 08625. 609-888-7055. Fax 609-341-9342. dcf.state.nj.us. New Mexico. State Foster Care Program Specialist, New Mexico Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Protective Services. Number 4 Grand Avenue Plaza, Roswell, New Mexico 88201. 575-626-9612. Fax 575-624-6190. State.nm.us. Foster Care, Guardianship and Adoptions Bureau Chief. New Mexico Department of Children, Youth and Families. PO Drawer 5160. Para Building, Room 219. Santa Fe, New Mexico 87502-5160. 505-476-1046. Fax, 505-476-5490. State.nm.us. New York. New York State Office of Children and Family Services. Office of Strategic Planning and Policy Development. 52 Washington Street. Room 322 North. Rensselaer, New York 12144-2796. 518-474-4726. ocfs.ny.gov. National Foster Care Month Contact. New York State Office of Children and Family Services. Office of Strategic Planning and Policy Development. 52 Washington Street. Room 322 North. Rensselaer, New York 12144-2796. 518-402-1639. ocfs.ny.gov. ocfs.ny.gov/main/fostercare/default.asp. North Carolina. Foster Care Program Manager. North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Child Welfare Services Section. 820 South Boylan Avenue. Mail Service Center 2439, McBride Building. Raleigh, NC, North Carolina 27603. 910-298-4395. Fax, 910-298-4395. dhhs.nc.gov. North Dakota. Foster Care Manager. North Dakota Department of Human Services. Children and Family Services. 600 East Boulevard Avenue. State Capitol Building, Department 325. Bismarck, North Dakota 58505-0250. 701-328-1018. Fax, 701-328-3538. nd.gov. nd.gov/dhs/services/child-family/foster care. Ohio. Section Chief, Substitute Care and Permanency. Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, Office of Families and Children. Substitute Care and Permanency Policy Section. 4200 East 5th Avenue 2nd floor. Columbus, Ohio 43219. 614-752-0651. Fax, 614-728-9682. jfs.ohio.gov. Oklahoma. Foster Care/Kinship Manager. Oklahoma Department of Human Services. POG 25352. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73125. 405-767-2508. okdhs.org. Oregon. Foster Care Program Manager. Oregon Department of Human Services. Office of Child Welfare Programs. 500 Summer Street, NE. Salem, Oregon 97301. 503-945-5987. Fax, 503-945-6969. State.or.us. National Foster Care Month Contact. Oregon Department of Human Services. Office of Child Welfare Programs. 500 Summer Street, NE. Salem, Oregon 97301. 503-945-6620. State.or.us. Pennsylvania. Foster Care Program Manager. Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. Office of Children, Youth and Families. 625 Forster Street, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania 17120. 717-214-3809. PA.gov. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico Administration for Children and Families. Department of the Family. POB 194,090. San Juan, Puerto Rico 00919-4090. 787-625-4900. Fax 787-625-4958. adfn.gobierno.pr. Rhode Island. Chief of Licensing and Regulation. Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Division of Licensing. 101 Friendship Street, 4th floor. Providence, Rhode Island 02903. 401, 528 3515. Fax 401-528-3650. dcyf.ri.gov. Foster Care Manager. Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth, and Families. 101 Friendship Street, 4th floor. Providence, Rhode Island 02903. 401-528-3676. Fax 401-528-3605. dcyf.ri.gov. South Carolina. Foster Care Program Manager. South Carolina Department of Social Services. Division of Human Services. POB 1520. Columbia, South Carolina 29202. 803-898-7616. dss.sc.gov. South Dakota. Program Specialist. South Dakota Department of Social Services. Child Protection Services. 700 Governors Drive, Pierre, South Dakota 57501. 605-773-3227. Fax 605-773-6834. State.sd.us. dss.sd.gov/childprotection/foster-care. Tennessee. Director of Foster Care and Resource Eligibility. Tennessee Department of Children's Services. Office of Child Permanency. 315 Dederick Street, UBS Building, 9th floor. Nashville, Tennessee 37243. 615-532-1101. Fax 615-532-6495. tn.gov. National Foster Care Month Contact. Tennessee Department of Children's Services. 315 Dederick, 10th floor. UBS Tower. Nashville, Tennessee 37243. 615-253-6906. tn.gov. Texas. Foster Care Program Manager. Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, DFPS. 701 West 51st Street. POB 149030, Mail Code W157. Austin, Texas 78717-9030. 512-438-4760. Fax 512-438-3782. dfps.state.tx.us. Division Administrator, FAD/ICPC. Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Child Protective Services. 701 West 51st Street. MCW 157. Austin, Texas 78751. 512-438-2405. Fax 512-339-5850. dfps.state.tx.us. dfps.state.tx.us/adoption_care/about_foster_care. Utah. Foster Care Program Administrator. Utah Department of Human Services. Division of Child and Family Services. 195 North 1950 West. Salt Lake City, Utah 84116. 801-696-4866. Fax, 801-538-3993. Utah.gov. dcfs.utah.gov/services/foster-care. Vermont. Foster/kin care manager. Vermont Department for Children and Families. 280 State Drive. Waterbury, Vermont 05671. 802-241-0900. Fax, 802-769-2122. Vermont.gov. Virgin Islands. Assistant Administrator. Virgin Islands Department of Human Services. 1303 Hospital Ground, Building A. Nude Hansen Complex. St. Thomas, Virgin Islands 00802. 340-774-0930. Fax, 340-774-4393. Virginia. Foster Care and Family Engagement Program Manager. Virginia Department of Social Services. Division of Family Services. 801 East Main Street. Richmond, Virginia 23219-2901. 804-726-7538. Fax, 804-726-7499. dss.virginia.gov. National Foster Care Month Contact. Virginia Department of Social Services. 801 East Main Street. Richmond, Virginia 23219. 804-726-7550. dss.virginia.gov. dss.virginia.gov/family/fc/index.cgi. Washington. Foster Care Program Manager. Washington Department of Social and Health Services. Children's Administration. 1115 Washington Street, SE. POB 45710. Olympia, Washington 98504-5710. 360-902-8035. dshs.wa.gov. West Virginia. Foster Care Program Manager. West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources. Bureau for Children and Families. 707 Professional Park Drive. Summersville, West Virginia 26651. 304-872-0803. Fax, 304-872-3839. wv.gov. dhr.wv.gov/bcf/pages/default.aspx. Wisconsin. Foster Care Program Manager. Wisconsin Department of Children and Families. 201 East Washington Avenue. Madison, Wisconsin 53703. 608-422-6930. Wisconsin.gov. Wyoming. Foster Care Program Manager. Wyoming Department of Family Services. 3817 Beach Street. Suite 200. Laramie, Wyoming 82070. 307-721-1951. wyo.gov. U.S. State Independent Living Coordinators/ETV, Educational Training Voucher Coordinator, to help foster youth move into independent living at 18. The Independent Living Program, ILP, is a federal program to assist eligible youth in making transitions from foster care to independent living. Alabama. Program Manager, Office of Foster Care and ILP. Independent Living Coordinator and ETV Coordinator. Alabama Department of Human Resources. Family Services Division. 50 Ripley Street. Montgomery, Alabama 36130-4000. 334-353-3108. dhr.alabama.gov. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. Alabama Department of Human Resources. Family Services Division. AL 334-353-4494. dhr.alabama.gov. National Foster Care Month Contact. Alabama Department of Human Resources. Family Services Division. 50 Ripley Street, Montgomery, Alabama 36130-4000. 334-353-2509. dhr.alabama.gov. dhr.alabama.gov/services/foster_care/intro_foster_care.aspx. Alaska. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. Alaska Department of Health and Social Services. Office of Children's Services. AK 907-465-8659. Alaska.gov. Arizona. Education Specialist, ETV Coordinator. Arizona Department of Child Safety. AZ 480-258-0509. azday.gov. ETV Program. Arizona Department of Child Safety. AZ 855-220-8200. Arizona. StateVoucher.org. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Arizona Department of Child Safety. 3003 North Central Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona 85012. 480-487-1496. 602-255-2630. ASDX.gov. Arkansas. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Arkansas Department of Human Services. Division of Children and Family Services. AR 501-682-2447. dhs.arkansas.gov. California. Permanency Policy Bureau. California Department of Social Services. CA 916-657-1858. dss.ca.gov. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. California Department of Social Services. Transitional Age Youth, TAY, Policy Unit. 744 P Street, MS August 13, 78. Sacramento, California 95814. 916-657-3437. dss.ca.gov. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. California Department of Social Services. Transitional Age Youth, TAY, Policy Unit. 744 P Street, MS August 13, 78. Sacramento, California 95814. 916-657-3163. dss.ca.gov. Colorado. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. Youth Services Administrator. Colorado Office of Children, Youth, and Families. CO 303-866-4539. State.co.us. Connecticut. ETV Coordinator. DCF-PSE Consultant. Connecticut Department of Children and Families. Children and Youth in Placement, CHYP. CT 860-723-7217. CT.gov. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Connecticut Department of Children and Families. Children and Youth in Placement, CHYP. CT 860-550-6331. CT.gov. Delaware. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Delaware Department of Services for Children, Youth, and their Families. TAY 302-633-2638. State.de.us. District of Columbia. Independent Living Program Coordinator. District of Columbia Child and Family Services Agency. Office of Youth Empowerment. DC 202-727-7461. dc.gov. Supervisory Resource Development Specialist. Independent Living Program Coordinator. District of Columbia Child and Family Services Agency. Office of Youth Empowerment. DC 202-727-7517. dc.gov. Education Specialist, ETV Coordinator. District of Columbia Child and Family Services Agency. Office of Youth Empowerment. DC 202-442-6100. dc.gov. Florida. Florida IL Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Florida Department of Children and Families. FL 1-844-459-6884. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. Florida Department of Children and Families. FL 850-717-4218. myflfamilies.com. Georgia. Independent Living Program. Georgia Department of Human Services. Division of Family and Children Services. GA 888-884-4712. dhr.state.ga.us. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. Georgia Department of Human Services. Division of Family and Children Services. GA 404-657-0037. dhs.ga.gov. Hawaii. Foster Care Program Manager/Independent Living Program Coordinator. Hawaii Department of Human Services. Child Welfare Services Division. 810 Richards Street, Suite 400. Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. 808-586-7212. Fax 808-586-4806. dhs.hawaii.gov. Idaho. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Independent Living/ETV Coordinator. Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. Division of Children and Family Services. ID 208-334-4932. dhw.idaho.gov. Illinois. ETV Coordinator. Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Office of Education and Transition Services. IL 309-671-7969. Illinois.gov. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Office of Education and Transition Services. IL. Fax 217-557-2689. Illinois.gov. Indiana. Older Youth Initiatives Manager. Independent Living Coordinator. Indiana Department of Child Services. IN 317-234-4500. dcs.in.gov. Independent Living Program Regions 1 to 7 and 11 and ETV Coordinator. Indiana Department of Child Services. IN 317-407-6767. dcs.in.gov. Independent Living Program Coordinator * Regions 8 to 10 and 12-18. Indiana Department of Child Services. IN 219-730-1435. dcs.in.gov. Iowa. ETV Coordinator. Iowa Department of Human Services. IA 515-725-3409. Iowa.gov. Program Planner. IL Coordinator. Iowa Department of Human Services. IA 515-242-5452. dhs.state.ia.us. Kansas. Permanency Program Administrator, State IL, and ETV Coordinator. Kansas Department for Children and Families. Prevention and Protection Services. 555 South Kansas Avenue 4th floor. Topeka, Kansas 66603. 785-296-6619. Fax 785-368-8159. ks.gov. dcf.ks.gov/services/pps/pages/adoption-assistance.aspx. Kentucky. Chaffee Independent Living and ICPC and ETV Coordinator. Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services. 275 East Main Street 3CE. Frankfort, Kentucky 40621. 502-564-2147. ky.gov. Foster Care Manager and Chaffee Program Administrator and ETV Coordinator. Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services. 275 East Main Street 3CE. Frankfort, Kentucky 40621. 502-564-2147. 800-232-5437. Fax 502-564-5995. ky.gov. Louisiana. State IL and ETV Coordinator. DCFSFC and Transitioning Youth, CW Consultant. Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services. LA. 225-342-3936. 225-342-5676. la.gov. Maine. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Youth Transition Team Leader. Maine Department of Health and Human Services. Office of Child and Family Services. Me. 207-624-7928. Maine.gov. Maryland. Education/Health Specialist. ETV Coordinator. Maryland Department of Human Services. Social Services Administration. MD. 410-767-6948. Maryland.gov. ETV Coordinator. Maryland Department of Human Services. Social Services Administration. MD 21201. 410-767-7247. Maryland.gov. Program Analyst. Maryland Department of Human Services. Social Services Administration. 311 West Saratoga Street. Baltimore, Maryland 21201. 410-767-8319. Maryland.gov. Massachusetts Independent Living Program Coordinator. Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. MA. 617-748-2231. State.ma.us. ETV Coordinator. Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. MA. 617-748-2430. State.ma.us. Michigan. YIT Analyst. Independent Living Coordinator. Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. MI. 517-241-8904. Michigan.gov. ETV Coordinator. Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. MI. 877-660-6388. Departmental Analyst Education/Employment. ETV Coordinator. Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. MI. 517-373-2851. Fax 517-335-7789. Michigan.gov. Minnesota. ETV Coordinator. Minnesota Department of Human Services. MN. 651-431-4663. State.mn.us. Independent Living Coordinator. Self-Program Coordinator, Adolescent Services. Minnesota Department of Human Services. MN 651-431-4686. State.mn.us. Mississippi Division DIR, Data Reporting Continuous Quality Improvement. ETV Coordinator. Mississippi Department of Human Services. MS 601-359-4743. mdhs.ms.gov. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Mississippi Department of Human Services. MS 601-359-4983. mdhs.ms.gov. Missouri Program Dev. Specialist, Older Youth Program. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Missouri Department of Social Services. MO 573-522-6279. dss.mo.gov. Montana Programs Manager/ETV Coordinator. Reach Higher Montana. MT 406-422-1275. reachhighermontana.org. Independent Living Coordinator. Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. Child and Family Services Division. MT 406-841-2449. mt.gov. Nebraska Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Program Specialist, DHHS Policy Unit. Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Division of Children and Family Services. NE 402-471-9331. Nebraska.gov. Nevada Independent Living Coordinator for State. Nevada Department of Health and Human Services. Division of Child and Family Services. NV 775-684-4428. dcfs.nv.gov. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Nevada Department of Health and Human Services. Division of Child and Family Services. NV 702-486-3134. dcfs.nv.gov. ETV Program Director. The Children's Cabinet. 480 Galletti Way Building 8C. Sparks, Nevada 89431. 775-443-4509. childrenscabinet.org. Independent Living Program Specialist. Nevada Department of Health and Human Services. Division of Child and Family Services. NV 775-684-4444. dcfs.nv.gov. New Hampshire Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Adolescent Program Specialist. New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. Division for Children, Youth, and Families. NH 603-419-0312. dhhs.state.nh.us. New Jersey Education Specialist, OAS, ETV Coordinator. New Jersey Department of Children and Families. Division of Youth and Family Services. New Jersey 609-888-7375. dcf.state.nj.us. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Independent Living Coordinator. New Jersey Department of Children and Families. Division of Youth and Family Services. New Jersey 609-888-7072. dcf.state.nj.us. New Mexico Youth Services Bureau Chief. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. New Mexico Department of Health and Human Services. Division for Children, Youth, and Families. NM 505-476-4686. 5494. State.nm.us. New York. Youth Development Coordinator. ETV Coordinator. New York State Office of Children and Family Services. Youth Programs. New York. 212-383-1834. ocfs.ny.gov. North Dakota. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. NDIL/Licensing Administrator. North Dakota Department of Human Services. Division of Children and Family Services. ND 701-328-4934. nd.gov. Ohio. Ohio IL Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. O 855-471-1931. statevoucher.org. Section Chief, Substitute Care and Permanency. Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, Office of Families and Children. Substitute Care and Permanency Policy Section. 4200 East 5th Avenue 2nd floor. Columbus, Ohio 43219. 614-752-0651. Fax, 614-728-9682. jfs.ohio.gov. jfs.ohio.gov/ocf/index.stm. Oklahoma. ETV Coordinator. Program Manager, Successful Adulthood Program. Oklahoma Department of Human Services. OK. 918-794-7554. okdhs.org. Program Supervisor, Successful Adulthood Program, PERM. and Wellbeing Unit. Independent Living Coordinator. Oklahoma Department of Human Services. OK. 405-521-3777. okdhs.org. Oregon. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Oregon Department of Human Services. Independent Living Programs. OR 503-945-5807. dhsaha.state.or.us. ETV Coordinator. Oregon Department of Human Services. Independent Living Programs. OR 503-945-6612. dhsaha.state.or.us. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. Oregon Department of Human Services. Independent Living Programs. OR 503-945-5688. state.or.us. Pennsylvania. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Prague. Specialist Adoption and PERM. Network and Older Youth Services. Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. Office of Children, Youth and Families. PA 717-214-6765. pa.gov. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico Administration for Children and Families. Department of the Family. POG 194,090. San Juan, Puerto Rico 00919-4090. 787-625-4900. Fax, 787-625-4958. adfn.gobierno.pr. Rhode Island. Independent Living Coordinator. Administrator. Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth and Families. RI 401-528-3576. dcyf.ri.gov. Educational Services Coordinator. Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth and Families. RI 401-528-3833. dcyf.ri.gov. Independent Living Coordinator. Principal Community Liaison. Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth and Families. RI 401-528-3833. 3754. dcyf.ri.gov. South Carolina. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. South Carolina Department of Social Services. SC 803-898-7637. dss.sc.gov. Independent Living Advocate. South Carolina Department of Social Services. SC 803-898-7327. dss.sc.gov. South Dakota. Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator. South Dakota Department of Human Services. SD 605-773-3227. State.sd.us. Tennessee. Independent Living Program Coordinator. Tennessee Department of Children's Services. TN. TN.gov. Assistant Director. Tennessee Department of Children's Services. TN 615-532-9647. TN.gov. Texas. Specialist Adult Living Chaffee Services. Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. TX 512-438-5442. dfps.state.tx.us. SIL Coordinator, DFPS CPS, PRGM. Specialist Lead for EFC and JUV. JUST. Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. TX 512-438-5412. dfps.state.tx.us. Transitional Living Services Team Lead. Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. TX 512-438-2350. dfps.state.tx.us. Utah. Adolescent Services Program Administrator. Independent Living Coordinator/ETV Coordinator. Utah Department of Human Services. UT 385-262-5044. Utah.gov. Vermont. Director. Vermont Youth Development Program. POB 627. VT 05601. 802-229-9151. wcysb.org. ETV Coordinator. ETV Program. Vermont Student Assistance Corporation. VT 802-654-3798. vsac.org. Policy and Practice Specialist. Independent Living Coordinator. Vermont Department for Children and Families. Family Services Division. 280 State Drive. Waterbury, Vermont 05671. 802-241-0894. 802-585-0554. Fax 802-241-0916. Vermont.gov. Virginia. State IL Coordinator and Youth Services Supervisor. Virginia Department of Social Services. VA 804-726-7576. dss.virginia.gov. Washington. ETV Program Manager. Washington State Department of Social and Health Services. WA 360-902-7990. dhsh.wa.gov. Independent Living Program Manager. Washington State Department of Social and Health Services. WA 360-902-8063. dshs.wa.gov. West Virginia. ETV Coordinator. West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources. Bureau for Children and Families. 350 Capitol Street, Room 691. Charleston, West Virginia 25301. 304-356-4571. wv.gov. Wisconsin. Kelsey Hill, Independent Living Program and ETV Coordinator, Wisconsin Department of Children and Families, WI 608-422-6990, Wisconsin.gov, Wyoming, CJA Coordinator, Wyoming Division of Social Services, 2300 Capitol Avenue, 3rd floor, Hathaway Building, Cheyenne, Wyoming 82002-0490, 307-777-6684, wyo.gov. Chapter 4. More foster organizations. State Foster Adoptive Family Associations/Coalitions. Alabama. Alabama Foster and Adoptive Families Association. AFAPA.org. Facebook.com/pages/Alabama-Foster-Adoptive-Parent-Association/135344309861833. Alaska. Alaska Center for Resource Families. ACRF.org. Facebook.com/pages/Alaska-Center-for-resource-families/16672687337376771. Arizona. Arizona Association for Foster and Adoptive Parents. AZAFAP.org. California. California State Foster Parent Association. CSFPAonline.org. Colorado. Colorado Coalition of Adoptive Families. COCAF.org. Facebook.com/COCAF. Connecticut. Connecticut Alliance of Foster and Adoptive Families. CAFAFCT.org. Facebook.com/pages/Connecticut-Association-of-Foster-Inc-CAFA-P/1849068858828. District of Columbia. District of Columbia Metropolitan Foster and Adoptive Parent Association. DCMFAPA.org. Facebook.com/pages/DC-Metropolitan-Foster-Adoptive-Association/10651061249. Florida. Florida State Foster/Adoptive Parent Association. FloridaFAPA.org. Facebook.com/pages/Florida-State-Foster-Adoptive-Parent-Association/152059391553118. Georgia. Georgia Center for Resources and Support. GACRS.org. Facebook.com/pages/Georgia-Center-for-resources-and-support/11374556536536756. Twitter.com/GACRSATL. Northwest Georgia Foster and Adoptive Parent Association. FosterAdopt.org/NWGFAPA.org/index.htm. Hawaii. It Takes an Ohana, Hawaii, formerly the Hawaii Foster Parent Association. itakayasanohana.org. Illinois. Illinois Foster Adoptive Parent Association. ilfapa.org/home-page.html. Iowa. Iowa Foster and Adoptive Parents Association. ifapa.org. Facebook.com/pages/Iowa-Foster-and-Adoptive-Parents-Association/1252804899070. Kansas. Kansas Foster and Adoptive Families Association. KFAPA.com. Kentucky. Kentucky Foster and Adoptive Care Association. KFACA.net. Facebook.com/share/share.php?http%(3a%2f%2f) kfaka.net%2fnt=home. Louisiana. Louisiana Foster and Adoptive Parents Association. lfapainc.org. Maine. Adoptive and Foster Families of Maine. 34 Main Street, Orono, Maine 04473. 207-827-2331. 800-833-9786. Fax, 207-889-6978. info@afm.net. afm.net. facebook.com/pages/adoptive-and-families-of-main-inc/112382818790537. Maryland. Maryland Resource Parent Association. mrpa.org. facebook.com/mdresourceparents. Massachusetts. Massachusetts Alliance for Families. msbcc.org/maff. Michigan. Michigan Association for Foster, Adoptive, and Kinship Parents. mafak.msu.edu. facebook.com/#sign!-pages/michigan-association-for-foster-adoptive-and-kinship-parents/150872051636575. Minnesota. Minnesota Foster Care Association. minnesotafostercare.org. Missouri. Foster Adopt Connect. fosteradopt.org. facebook.com/pages/midwest-care-and-adoption-association/110555265641140. Nebraska. Nebraska Foster and Adoptive Parent Association. nfapa.org. facebook.com/index.php?? Nevada. The Foster and Adoption Coalition of Nevada. facnv.com. New Hampshire. New Hampshire, NH, Foster and Adoptive Parent Association. nhfapa.org. facebook.com/pages/nh-foster-adoptive-association/2621236133434. New Jersey. Foster and Adoptive Family Services, New Jersey. fafsonline.org. facebook.com/fafs.newjersey. twitter.com/intent/follow?*referrer=http%(3a%(2f%)%2f. fafsonline.org%2f screen_name =FAFS_New Jersey and TW_P =follow button and variant =2.0 and XD_token =74D9434778B5C34. New York. New York Adoptive and Foster Family Coalition. afcny.org/about-us. Ohio. Ohio Family Care Association. Office at ofcaonline.org. ofcaonline.org. Oklahoma. Foster Care and Adoptive Association of Oklahoma. fcaoboard@gmail.com. fcao.org. Oregon. Northwest Adoptive Families Association, Oregon. nafaonline.org. facebook.com/Northwest Adoptive Families Association. Oregon Foster Parent Association. POB 366. 410 Mill Street. Salem, Oregon 97308. 503-361-3906. 888-544-3402. Office at uvpa.com. uvpa.com. facebook.com/Oregon Foster Parent Association. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania State Resource Family Association. psrfa.org. facebook.com/pages/Pennsylvania-state-resource-family-association/138376219507147. Rhode Island. Foster Forward, Rhode Island. rivpa.org. facebook.com/pages/ri-foster-association-rivpa/1686503922006. twitter.com/fosterforward. South Carolina. South Carolina Foster Parent Association. scfpa.com. facebook.com/pages/south-carolina-foster-association/271654486210857. twitter.com/scfpa_info. YouTube. youtube.com/user/heartfelt calling. Texas. Texas Foster Family Association. tffa.org. facebook.com/Texas Foster Family Association. Utah. Utah Foster and Adoptive Families Association. facebook.com/pages/ufafa/3229028213999. Virginia. Newfound Families. 877-823-2237. newfoundva.org. facebook.com/newfoundfamiliesva. twitter.com/new_foundfam. Washington. Foster Parents Association of Washington State. 800-391-2273, fpos@fpos.org. fpos.org. Wisconsin. Wisconsin Foster and Adoptive Parent Association. wfapa.org. facebook.com/wfapa. State Youth Advocacy/Advisory Boards After Foster Care. Alaska. Facing Foster Care in Alaska, FFCA. Alaska. 907-748-1845. ffcalaska.org. California. California Youth Connection, Psych. California. 800-397-8236. calyouthcon.org/mission. Colorado. Colorado Youth Advisory Council, COYUC. Colorado. engagedpublic.com/coyac-home.php. Hawaii. Hawaii Foster Youth Coalition. Hawaii. 808-545-5683. kukuicenter.org/hawaii-foster-youth-coalition. Indiana. Fostering Youth Connections of Indiana, FYCI. Indiana. 510-528-7440. fosteriouthaction.org/partners/Indiana. Iowa. Iowa Achieving Maximum Potential, AMP. Iowa. 515-233-2250. ampiowa.org. Kansas. Foster Adopt Connect Kansas. Kansas. 816-350-0215. fosteradopt.org/olathe-ks. Kentucky. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Kentucky. 703-299-6767. Steve at fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Kentucky-chapter. FCAA leadership is currently with alumni in this state to re-engage the chapter. The True Up Youth Advisory Council. Kentucky. 502-536-3734. N. Thornton at trueuplouisville.com. trueuplouisville.com. Louisiana. Louisiana Youth Leadership Advisory Council. Louisiana. 225-342-3936. youth.link@law.gov. dcfs.louisiana.gov/assets/docs/searchable/child%20 they'llfair/youthlink/dcfs_050714_lilac_v2.pdf. Youth Leadership Advisory Team, YLAT. Maine. 1-877-792-9528. mainelat@gmail.com. YLAT.org. Maryland Department of Human Resources, Youth Advisory Board. Maryland. 443-378-4539. yabbaltcity@dhr.state.md.us. dhr.maryland.gov/local offices/Baltimore City/adoption foster care services/BCDSS Youth Resources/Youth Advisory Board. Massachusetts. MA Network of Foster Care Alumni, Mass NFCA. Massachusetts. 877-624-3440. MA Network Foster Care Alumni @gmail.com. massnfca.org. Massachusetts Youth Advisory Board. Massachusetts. 617-748-2000. mass.gov/ea/gov/departments/dc/f/adolescent/youth-development-services.html. Minnesota. Foster Alumni Minnesota. Minnesota. fosteralummn@gmail.com. fosteralummn.org. Mississippi. The Mississippi Teen Advisory Board. Mississippi. 601-359-4368. Contact us at mdcps.ms.gov. mdcps.ms.gov/independent-living. Missouri. Foster Care Alumni Association of Missouri, FAAM. Missouri. FCAM2016@gmail.com. mofaam.com. Missouri State Youth Advisory Board, SYAB. Missouri. 800-735-2966. dss.mo.gov/cd/chaffee/syab. Montana. Youth Advisory Council, YAC. Montana. 406-541-6891. info@empotheyearmt.org. empowermt.org/youth-advisory-council-YAC. Nevada. The Nevada Youth Advisory Board. Nevada. 775-684-4444. il@dcfs.nv.gov. dcfs.nv.gov/programs/cws/il/youth_leadership. New Hampshire. New Hampshire Teen Voices DCYF/DJJS Youth Advisory Board. New Hampshire. 603-271-4451. 800-852-3345. dhhs.nh.gov/dcyf/yab.hdm. New England Youth Coalition Council, NEYC. New Hampshire. 617-278-4272. gkoshinsky@jbcc.harvard.edu. NEYouthCoalition.org. New Jersey. New Jersey Youth Advisory Board. New Jersey. 908-202-0762. esalerno@ssw.rutgers.edu. socialwork.rutgers.edu/centers/institute-families/office-child-welfare-initiatives/transitions-youth-advisory-board. New Mexico. Leaders Uniting Voices Youth Advocates of NM, Luvianm. New Mexico. facebook.com/pg/leaders-uniting-voices-youth-advocates-of-NM-275726942454572/about. North Dakota. North Dakota's Youth Leadership Independent Living Board. North Dakota. 701-328-4934. nd.gov/ndyouth. Ohio. Alumni Action. Ohio. info@fosteractionohio.org. fosteractionohio.org/alumni action. Ohio Youth Advisory Board. Ohio. info@fosteractionohio.org. fosteractionohio.org/yab. Rhode Island. The Voice, Youth Leadership Training and Empowerment Board. Rhode Island. 401-438-3900. TTPS. fosterforward.net/programs-initiatives/for-children-teens/the-voice. Foster Leaders, Rhode Island Updates, Facebook. Rhode Island. facebook.com/groups/fosterleaders/?fref=NF. South Carolina. Go out and learn life. South Carolina. mari.squire@dss.sc.gov. nytdstayconnected.com/resources1.html?ID=177:go-out-and-learn-life. Tennessee Youth for Youth Leadership Board. Tennessee. tn.gov. Voices for Change. Texas. 832-718-1785. facebook.com/txvoices4change. Statewide Youth Leadership Council, YLC. Texas. 512-438-3769. texasyouthconnection.com. Vermont. Youth Development Program, YDP. Vermont. 802-229-9151. vtyouthdevelopmentprogram.org/youth-leadership. Virginia. Great Expectations. Virginia. fostercaralumni.org/Virginia-chapter. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCCA. Virginia. fca.virginiapresident@gmail.com. fostercarealumni.org/Virginia-chapter. Washington. The Mockingbird Society. Washington. 206-323-5437. mockingbirdssociety.org. Passion to Action, Youth-Led Advisory Board. Washington. ilskids@dshs.wa.gov. independence.wa.gov/self-advocacy/make-a-difference-and-get-involved/self-advocacy-rest-there-ces/passion-to-action. Wisconsin. Wisconsin Youth Advisory Council. Wisconsin. 414-324-8204. facebook.com/weeac. Wyoming. Wyoming Independent Living, WIL, Youth Advisory Council. Wyoming. wilr.org/peer-program/YAC. Foster Care Alumni Associations for Foster Children who are now 18+. fostercarealumni.org. Arizona. Foster Care Alumni of America. Arizona. 480-387-4940. fostercarealumni.org/Arizona-chapter. California. California Youth Connection, Psych. California. 800-397-8236. calyouthcon.org/mission. Florida. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Florida. Steve at fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Florida-chapter. FCAA leadership is currently with alumni in this state to re-engage the chapter. Georgia. Foster Care Alumni of Georgia. Georgia. fcaa.ga@gmail.com. fostercarealumni.org/Georgia-chapter. Hawaii. Hawaii Foster Youth Coalition. Hawaii. 808-545-5683. kukuicenter.org/Hawaii-Foster-Youth-Coalition. Idaho. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Idaho. Steve at fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Idaho-chapter. FCAA leadership is currently with alumni in this state to re-engage the chapter. Illinois. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Illinois. il.chapter@fostercarealumni.org. fostercaralumni.org/Illinois-chapter. Kentucky. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Kentucky. 703-299-6767. Steve at fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Kentucky-chapter. Maine. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Maine. 703-299-6767. Steve at fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Kentucky-chapter. FCAA leadership is currently working with alumni in this state to re-engage the chapter. Maryland. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Maryland. 703-299-6767. fostercarealumni.org. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Massachusetts. 508-263-0021. fostercarealumni.org/Massachusetts-chapter. Michigan. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Michigan. fcaa.michigan@gmail.com. fostercarealumni.org/Michigan-chapter. Minnesota. Foster Alumni Minnesota. Minnesota. fosteralummn@gmail.com. fosteralummn.org. Missouri. Foster Care Alumni Association of Missouri, FAAM. Missouri. fcam2016@gmail.com. mofaam.com. Foster Care Alumni of America. Nevada. nv.chapter@fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Nevada-chapter. North Carolina. Foster Care Alumni of America. North Carolina. nc.chapter@fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/North-Carolina-chapter. Ohio. Alumni Action. Ohio. info@fosteractionohio.org. fosteractionohio.org/alumni action. Ohio Youth Advisory Board. Ohio. info@fosteractionohio.org. fosteractionohio.org/YAB. Oklahoma. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCCA. Oklahoma. fcaa.chapter@gmail.com. fostercarealumni.org/Oklahoma-chapter. Pennsylvania. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCCA. Pennsylvania. pa.chapter@fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Pennsylvania-chapter. Tennessee. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCCA. Tennessee. Steve at fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Tennessee-chapter. Texas. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCCA. Texas. 512-900-1631. fostercarealumni.org/Texas-chapter. Virginia. Great Expectations. Virginia. fostercarealumni.org/Virginia-chapter. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCCA. Virginia. fca.virginiapresident@gmail.com. fostercarealumni.org/Virginia-chapter. Washington. Foster Care Alumni of America, FCAA. Washington. wa.chapter@fostercarealumni.org. fostercarealumni.org/Washington-chapter.